Alright everyone, I'm here to give you my WWE RAW review for December 15th, 2014. Um, Before I do that, I want to mention that I made a video today on my own Talkinator channel. It was called I Am Santa Claus movie review, and Mick Foley was in that movie, so if you want to check out that review, just click on the On the Talkinator link in the description box below, and you should be able to find it. And if not, then you aren't looking hard enough. And then you should, I'm not really going to put it in the description box. You guys can find it yourselves. The show, I'm going to talk about what I think about the show at the end because I have mixed feelings about it. And we have JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry the Kinlaw on commentary. And Chris Jericho comes out and he's running the show tonight. He's tonight's guest general manager. And pretty much says he's happy to be there. And says that he won the Slammy for the Extreme Moment of the Year when he dived off the cage onto Bray Wyatt. And last week Fandango stole his Slammy. So he wants to have his Slammy back. So he calls out Fandango so he can get his Slammy back. But Paul Heyman comes out instead and says that he should be running the show tonight because he had created the brand called ECW. He says that he should have won the Extreme Moment of the Year too, and he was talking about like no disrespect to Chris Jericho. And even with the Ayatollah Rock and Roller, like spun his head, he's like, man, how do you not get dizzy after you do that? And Chris Jericho mentions that they owes him $200 from a VHS or a video tape that they made about his greatest moments, and they screwed him, and that he screwed Chris Jericho because he brought Chris Jericho in and claimed that he made him a lot of money, but he just ripped him off. And then Chris Jericho calls him Walrus, and it just kind of goes back and forth. And then Paul Heyman even talks about how he was there to confront Seth Rollins because he's supposed to be the future of the WWE, but he couldn't even get the job done by beating John Cena last night. So then Seth Rollins comes out and gets in Heyman's face and says that you just sat there and watched all this happen. It kind of just goes off on Heyman saying that he's a nothing. And he mentions that John Cena can't beat Seth Rollins fair and square without any help. So he wants to have a rematch with Seth Rollins, but not tonight when he's more rested and more recovered because he's still kind of injured. And he came out with J&J Security, which consisted of Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. So John Cena comes out and says, just because you have a microphone doesn't give you balls. You have to own up to your losses and come back and fight stronger, which is what I'm gonna. And then he tells Heyman that's what he's gonna do when he faces Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. And they actually want to have the match tonight, but they can't. He needs help to do that because he needs someone to make the match. And Chris Jericho makes the match, and it's gonna between John Cena and Seth Rollins in the main event. It's gonna be a steel cage match, which made sense because they were talking about how John Cena couldn't beat Seth Rollins without interference, and now it looks, and he can just John Cena can prove that when he steps inside a steel cage with Seth Rollins. So then Cena says he'll see him tonight, walks off, and Seth Rollins gets to Chris Jericho's face, says that he's washed up, said that he's losing and he's all fat now, that you can't even wrestle anymore, you have ring rust now. And since you haven't wrestled in so long, you can't even beat. He mentions like the janitor and the snack guy. And then he mentions Paul Heyman, and then he's like, "I think I can beat Paul Heyman, but you guys all don't think. But since you don't think I can beat Paul Heyman, let's prove that." Then Paul Heyman's like, "No, I think you can beat Paul Heyman." And then Chris Jericho says, and he's like, "Switch the subject." And he's like, "No, let's keep the subject." So then he makes a match between Chris Jericho and Paul Heyman. And you were able to vote on the stipulation what you wanted the match to be. It could have been Extreme Rules, a street fight, or a no holds barred match. So that was that. It was like a double main event. And I'll get into that later on in the show. And then the first match, let me just make sure I don't have it wrong. The first match was Luke Harper and Big Show versus Eric Rowan and Dolph Ziggler. Match was kind of average at best. Pretty much a Big Show and Harper just beat the crap out of Dolph Ziggler. And then he makes the hot tag to Eric Rowan and he goes off on Luke Harper and Big Show. And then eventually Ziggler fights with Harper and they go over the announcer's table. And then Big Show just ends up knocking out Eric Rowan for the win. So it was really nothing special. Eric Rowan, I think that feud's done now. And you're gonna see why. Then Fandango and Rosa Mendez are backstage, and Chris Jericho pretty much says after he had made fun of his name, he pretty much made fun of Fandango's name too, and he says that after he's done dealing with Paul Heyman, he's gonna come back here and take back his Slammy Award by kicking Fandango's ass. So I thought that was okay. It was funny stuff. Chris Jericho's pretty good on the show. Then the New Day, which consists of Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E, talk about how they have like lightness and shyness, and they talk about how they're going to take out Golden Stardust. And we find out Big E has a sweating problem, so he has to use his handkerchief. That's so racist. And he talked about like a black preacher by calling Renee Young his sister. And Kofi Kingston starts rapping on Golden Stardust. Man, this group is so fucking racist. I just can't believe it. Then we have the Bella Twins, which consist of Brie and Nikki Bella versus Alicia Fox and Natalya with Tyson Kidd ringside. Nothing match. Alicia Fox and Natalya win when she locks in the sharpshooter on Brie Bella. And afterwards, Nikki Bella got hurt and Tyson Kidd was checking on her, and then he went and celebrated with his wife. That storyline's going nowhere. This was a pretty good stuff. We got Chris Jericho hosting the highlight reel, and his guests were Rusev and Lana. This was awesome stuff. He's like, I bet this guy's gonna come out here with I bet they're gonna come. I'm gonna make a prediction. I bet they're gonna come out here, and one of them's gonna He talks about what Lana wears all the time, and it sounded like he was talking about Rusev, but he wasn't. And then he asked why they're all angry all the time, why they're never in a good mood, and Lana just keeps telling him to shut up. And then he's like, "Would it make you feel better if he shows you?" He pretty much references Rusev's dick, but I forget what he actually called it. And then Lana's like, "Shut up." And then he asked if Rusev and Lana are like in a relationship, because I think it's more than just about Russia. I think you guys really care about each other. Rusev's that bum that nobody cares about, and I think you guys are in a relationship. Something's going on here. And then he starts sending Rusev and Lana sitting in a tray, KISSING. First comes love, then come marriage, you know. And Lana just keeps telling him to shut up, and they go back and forth. Her and Jericho go back and forth, and then Rusev gets in his face. And Chris Jericho had mentioned Rusev too, how when he was around, everybody wanted to fight him, and now that's the case with Rusev. And Rusev says that he's going to crush Chris Jericho right now. And before he can, Chris Jericho said that someone in the back wants to fight Rusev, and it ends up being Ryback. And Ryback and Rusev has a face-off, and Rusev leaves. So I can't wait to see what they do with this in the future. I actually wanted them to save this for WrestleMania, but what can Rusev really feud with until then? You know, so I really am not going to complain about that. I think at the Royal Rumble we're going to get Rusev defending his U.S. title against Ryback. So I think that should be some pretty good stuff. You know what? I actually want to see this match. It was good stuff too. Chris Jericho was awesome here. He really made me laugh. And then the Ascension, which is a tag team on NXT that consists of Connor and Victor. If you watch my NXT reviews, you know I talk about the Ascension all the time. And they have a vignette and pretty much say that they're going to be masked on destruction. And they're going to destroy everybody in their path. So they're going to be coming to the main roster soon. I'm not really sure when yet. I can see maybe either before the Royal Rumble or after the Royal Rumble. I can't wait to see them though. I think it's time to win. I've been saying on my NXT reviews that it was time to bring these guys up to the roster, and they're going to finally do that. And I can't wait to see them finally debut on the main roster, because they were like the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions, and they just had a great match on NXT TakeOver All Evolution. So I can't wait to see this. And then we have Xavier Woods and Big E versus Golden Stardust with Kofi Kingston on commentary. This match was boring. I didn't care about it. I don't care about the New Day. I care about Golden Stardust, but I just didn't care about the match. The crowd didn't care about it, because when Xavier Woods had gotten the hot tag, everyone booed instead of cheered. So it was pretty much shit. They hit the midnight move. I forget what it's called, but Big E hits the big ending, and Xavier Woods goes off and does like the stomp move, and they were happy. There's nothing. They didn't really even talk about the match. They were just kind of talking about Kofi Kingston, So then we got the Miz and Damien Mizdow got interviewed, and Damien Mizdow, being the stunt double, is mimicking everything that the Miz is doing. Says what did he say? He said he's going to take out Jimmy Uso, and he says that he's jealous of him because he's doing all these movies, and that I can do more for his wife's career than he can. Same stuff. And I thought that was fine. Then Adam Rose is backstage, and he said that after he wins tonight, he's going to have a big victory. They're going to have a big party, and his opponent's Kane, so you know where that's going to go. And he says he's going to destroy Adam Rose, and Adam Rose like, stop, don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. And then Kane just gets in his face. It was stupid. So then we got Adam Rose versus Kane. Waste of time. Kane goes to chokeslam Adam Rose, and then the bunny tries to jump off the top, and he gets caught, and Kane double chokeslams Adam Rose and the bunny, and he covers Adam Rose for the win, and then afterwards he tombstones the bunny. So it was awesome to see Kane destroy the bunny, but other than that, it was nothing. And then we get Chris Jericho versus Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman comes out and says that you think that I have a way out of this, that I have something up my sleeve, but I don't, and you think that I'm going to use something to outsmart you, but you can't do that. And he said that you shouldn't be beating the crap out of me because I'm because it's a PG product. And then he says that if this is just about that $200, if you don't kick my ass right here, I'll give you the money back, and we'll call it even. So he's about to write him a check, and Chris Jericho slaps it out of his hand. He said this isn't about the money. He wants to beat the crap out of Paul Heyman. So we get the results, and we find out that they're going to have a street fight. And Paul Heyman's like, okay, you're going to have your street fight with me. I'm not going to back down or anything, because you're going to have your street fight against Brock Lesnar. And then Brock Lesnar comes out, the first time we have seen Brock Lesnar, I think since Night of Champions. And it was awesome to see Brock Lesnar. Chris Jericho tries to fight back as much as he can. He goes for the code breaker, but Brock Lesnar counters it, and he hits the F5 and lays out Jericho. I thought that was awesome to see Brock Lesnar. I wasn't actually expecting to see him on this show, so I thought that was a nice surprise. And it was a pretty awesome stuff. Can't wait to see what happens. And they're going to start now building up to Brock Lesnar versus John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which he didn't come out with the belt, but not really going to complain about that because something happens later on. And then Fandango and Rosa Mendes came on to cut a promo, and Fandango, since Chris Jericho got laid out, he can't take back his slammy from Fandango, and he says that Raw was Jericho and now Raw is Fandango. And then Roman Reigns comes out, and Fandango goes to talk, but Roman Reigns decks him and spears Fandango, and he goes to talk, and Big Show comes up, and Roman Reigns tells him that if he comes to this ring, he's gonna punch him right in the mouth. And Big Show says that you're back, but you made a mistake by putting your hands on me, because I'm gonna put you back on the shelf. So he's gonna go fight him, and then Roman Reigns hits the Superman punch on Big Show when he's on the apron, and Big Show walks off, and it didn't knock him off his feet. So I think this is gonna be a mini feud going into the Royal Rumble, and then it should pick up from there. But I thought this was some pretty good stuff. I like Roman Reigns, like I said. And then we get The Miz with Damien Mizdow versus Jimmy Uso with Jey Uso. Good match. Damien Mizdow is mimicking The Miz's moves as always. And one thing is The Miz had given like a boot to Jimmy while he was on the apron, and then Damien Mizdow went to do it to like an invisible nobody, and the Miz just shoved him away, and then Jimmy Uso, Miz is dominating with Jimmy Uso, and then Jimmy Uso makes a comeback, and he's gonna do that splash that he does to Miz, and then Damien Mizdow does the same spot as he did last night, and then the referee tries to get Mizdow out of the ring, and Miz goes for the skull crushing finale, but then Jay hits Miz with the slammy right behind the referee's back. Jimmy Uso kicks Miz in the face and then hits the splash for the win. So Jimmy Uso gets the win, and they're continuing to build that feud. And actually, I think I started to tease the split between the Miz and Damien Mizdow, because Damien Mizdow technically caused the Miz this match. So I thought this was some pretty good stuff. And then Naomi's backstage, and the Miz comes up and says that he still will put it in a word to get Naomi like that, that music that deal that she wants that he's gonna give her, and he's like, I'm gonna give you your deal, and I know you don't care about being Divas champion, but I know you just want to be Divas champion, but if you get into this Hollywood movie world, you can. And he tells her that tomorrow night on Main Event, I'm gonna host Miz TV. And I want you to come out there and be my guest. And he pretty much says you might not want to mention this to Jimmy Uso. So he's just trying to stir up more drama for Jimmy Uso, Jimmy Uso and Naomi. I thought this was pretty awesome stuff. I'm definitely gonna tune into Main Event tomorrow to check out what happens with this Miz TV segment. I can't wait to see it. And then Seth Rollins gets interviewed. Hold on, and he says that it's not fair that he has to be in this cage match because he's not even 24 hours removed from a tables match, and that the Authority should be brought back in power. Same stuff he said last night. And then we get Seth Rollins with J&J Security versus John Cena in a steel cage match. Match of the night. I think it actually got a lot of time too. It was just a great match. Seth Rollins immediately just tries to escape, and John Cena stops him. And then Seth Rollins throws Cena into the cage, and then John Cena tries to slingshot Rollins into the cage, but Rollins is able to catch the cage and climb up, and John Cena stops him there. And it just was really back and forth. Cena hit his 5 moves of doom and hit the AA, and Rollins kicked out, which I was impressed about. And then he tried to go out the door, and Mercury got up on the cage, and Cena threw Rollins into the cage, and Mercury went off the announce table. That was cool. Rollins hit like a blockbuster, which was like a neck breaker off the top turnbuckle, and Cena kicked out of that. They just teased escaping the cage a bunch of times. And then Seth Rollins, Cena hits a leg drop onto Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins kicks out of that. And then Cena tries to escape the cage, and Jamie Noble's holding the door so he can't get out. And then Cena pushes the door, and Jamie Noble falls, but Seth Rollins is still able to stop him, and then that leg drop spot happens. Rollins hits a high knee on Cena, off the cage, and Cena kicks out of that. And then Rollins hits an enziguri, and he just continues to throw Cena in the cage and talks trash. Say, you should have just waited till next week. This is my time. And then Cena makes a comeback, hits the 5-knuckle shuffle, hits the STF2, and Rollins almost gets out of the cage. J&J Security are trying to pull him out, but Cena's able to fight them off. And Cena earlier had tried to escape the cage, and Joey Mercury slammed the door on his head, and he was actually busted open a little. And then Jamie Noble threw the briefcase in the ring, and Rollins hit an enziguri, and Cena kicked out, and Rollins went to hit him with the briefcase, but Cena countered with the clothesline. Rollins kicked out of that, and then Rollins hit Cena with the briefcase. Of course, Cena kicked out of that. Then he tried to escape the cage, and then Cena forced him back in, hits an AA off the cage, which was awesome. And then Brock Lesnar comes out, and it's like a big face-off, and it was awesome stuff. This was pretty awesome. Brock Lesnar comes out, attacks Cena, hits 3 German suplexes on him, and then the F5. And then,
yeah, put that lunch. Could do that chicken for lunch, right?
alright.
I'll put the plate in there.
Okay.
Heat it up.
Okay. And then, like, Brock Lesnar's looking at Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is, like, all scared. And then, Paul Heyman shakes hands with Rollins, and it was all a big, they're all in cahoots together. It was all a deal. It was all a trap. And then Rollins hits the curve stomp on Cena and walks out of the cage through the door and wins. Thought that was awesome. Great main event. And I thought, it was just good stuff. And I'm glad they're starting to build up Brock Lesnar, John Cena for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. And Brock Lesnar didn't end up coming out with the belt when he came out here and attacked Cena. And I thought that was pretty awesome stuff. So that's Raw this week. As for the show, I was actually wasn't going to come on here and say it was like an average show, but actually the last hour really made this a pretty good show. I wouldn't say a great show, but a pretty good show. If it wasn't for that last hour, then this Raw would be pretty bad. But I liked the opening everything that Chris Jericho was in. I liked the highlight reel, the opening segment, the face-off with Brock. And if Brock Lesnar wasn't there, this probably wouldn't have been as good of a Raw. But I liked the Roman Reigns stuff. I liked the match between The Miz and Jimmy Uso. So anything else I liked? And the Miz and Naomi backstage, that was good stuff. And actually that involves the highlight. That's about it. So yeah, it was a pretty good show. If it wasn't for that last hour, this Raw would be shit. But I'm just gonna say it's a pretty good show just because of the last hour. Man, I wish I could have just DVR'd this show. I probably would have just fast forwarded to the last hour. But and I guess the Ascension, seeing their vignette, that was good too. But that's pretty much it, guys. You're gonna get a crap load of videos from me this week for the WWE because it's a WWE week. Tomorrow I'm gonna do main event because I'm gonna watch main event tomorrow. And I'm gonna do the review of that, and I'm gonna review and the SmackDown review because it's like a live SmackDown tribute to the Troops main event Wednesday, maybe TNA review. It's either gonna be Wednesday or Thursday, depends on when I finish watching the show. Thursday will be NXT. Friday will be Wrestling Throwback Friday review, and then Saturday will be a Lucha Underground review. So pretty much a shit ton of videos this week. And on the Talkinator channel, I am going to review the movie The Condemned that Stone Cold is in either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And on and the same thing goes for because there's going to be 2 wrestling movies on, and it's going to be The Game Plan, and that's pretty much it, guys. So I'll be back a lot this week to be making videos. It's just going to be continuous. So that's pretty much it, guys. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't, which I don't know why you wouldn't, because you get a lot of great videos on this channel. And I'll be back tomorrow too to give you the Monday Night Wars review series. So that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.